what is willpower and how can you get more of it? Willpower is kind of a vague term. I define it very specifically. It's I will power. It's the power to say I will do this thing and actually follow through. And that's key to self-esteem, to feeling empowered, and to really making your life work. Because have you ever had a friend who say you invite to a party, you invite to a gathering, and they say, oh, sure, man, I'll be there. No problem. And you ask them, oh, are you really going to be there? Yeah, man, I'll totally be there. And then, of course, they don't show up. And after 3, 4, 5, 6 times of this, do you keep asking them to your parties, to your get-togethers? Of course not, right? Because you can't trust this person to actually do what they say they're going to do and to show up when they say they're going to show up. Well, of course, this applies to ourselves too. If I say I'm going to work out 3 times this week and I don't show up to the gym at all, or I show up twice, or I show up once, can I really trust that next week when I say I'm going to show up 3 times to the gym this week, am I going to follow through? Right? So when we say we're going to do things and we don't do it, we lose a sense of self-trust, and that lowers our own self-esteem as well. Because what happens is our word, we give our word by saying I will, or even okay, or yes, agreeing to do something. And when we give our word and we violate that, our word is meaningless. What we say we're going to do doesn't actually even point to anything in the real world. It's just pointing to other ideas. It's an intention. Wouldn't that be a great idea if I did that? But our word ceases to mean anything. Because words can be about things, but they can also be actions in themselves. When people get married, they say, I will, or I do. And that is an action. It's not describing something. It's not talking about something intellectually. It's an action. It's a commitment. But we commit every day in that kind of way, in big and small ways. When we say we're going to do something just for ourselves and we follow through, we gain a kind of experience points in integrity. When we fail to follow through, we lose those experience points. Or Stephen Covey called it the emotional bank account. And he emphasized that it's essential to relationships that we do what we say we're going to do. When we do what we say we're going to do enough times, we have a big reserve of emotional trust in that relationship. But we violate just that a few times and we have big withdrawals from that emotional bank account. If we have enough withdrawals, that relationship becomes bankrupt and there's no trust at all. And this happens on a personal level too. In fact, I encourage people to start at the personal level. If you've been making promises to yourself and not following through again and again and again, what happens is you start to feel depressed. You start to feel disempowered because you have made these promises and not following through. You no longer have self-trust or self-integrity. So how do you build back that trust and integrity? Do you double down? You say, okay, well, I didn't do 3 times last week, so I got to do 6 times this week in the gym. Don't do that. Do not double down when you're already in the hole. Instead, make a smaller promise. Say, I'm going to go to the gym 1 time this week and keep it. Or I'm going to do a set of push-ups every day and keep it. Okay? That's the strategy. Build upon success. Build upon small deposits in that bank account. Don't try to go double or nothing when you're in the hole. And that's how you build back trust in a relationship. If you've broken that trust through whatever means that might be, you have to build that up slowly over time with deposits in the emotional bank account. But you start with yourself. Say, I will, and do it. Starting small. Start with something very small. And now you might be listening to this and say, Duff, I've already got good integrity. I follow through. I do what I say I'm going to do. And that's probably true in most areas of your life. But look at that area of your life where things aren't going very well. Maybe it's finances. Maybe it's you have more weight than you'd like to have. Maybe it's in some other way you overwork. And ask yourself, am I really following through with what I say I'm going to do? Now, when people can't follow through, they have several ways that they deal with this. One is they just stop making promises. They say maybe a lot. Maybe I'll be there at that party. Maybe I'll do 3 times a week at the gym this week. Maybe I'll get that task done. Maybe I'll keep my commitments. But the problem with that is that it's not even making a commitment. So if you follow through with that, you don't even really get the credit. You don't really get increased self-trust or trust in the relationship. You have to say, I will. You have to commit, I promise. No one says, I promise anymore, right? We don't want to be on the line. We don't want to be on the hook. We've got too many commitments and we can't possibly get them all done. So we say maybe, or I don't know, or, I'll think about it. And it's okay to use that if you've got too many commitments. You don't have to commit to everything. But if you don't commit to anything, you never build up your integrity. You never build up your personal power. And the other way, of course, is people double down. I already explained why that's a bad idea, so don't do that. So it's important to make and keep promises in any area of life where you want to build your willpower, your I will power, your ability to say I will and follow through and increase that ability over time so you can make bigger and bigger promises, starting with small ones, making bigger and bigger promises until you can make lifetime commitments and keep them, until you can make really long-term commitments and keep them. And you do that by building it up slowly like a muscle, building up that trust, building up that emotional bank account so you can take a hit if you aren't able to follow through. And by the way, if you fail at keeping a commitment, you can always repair that. How do you do that? Well, first you just acknowledge either to yourself, if it's a commitment to yourself or to someone else, that you did fail, that you said you were going to do something and you didn't. And listen, if it's with somebody else, listen to how that impacted them. If it's for yourself, feel how that impacted you to have not succeeded at what you said you were going to do. And then reassess based on the information you get from that context. Maybe the promise was too big. Maybe the timeline was too short. Maybe you needed other information. Maybe the whole thing just wasn't in your control. You were waiting on somebody else. Something changed that wasn't in your power. And of course, apologize for that. And then create a different promise, a new promise that addresses the need currently that you really can do, that's in your power to do, and actually achieve that to repair. It won't completely repair the damage usually, but it'll at least repair some of it. And then you can continue to make small promises and keep them over time to build that I will power. Hey, thanks for listening. My name's Duff. I coach people through the internet just like this, just like what you see here through Skype and Zoom. I also see clients in Boulder, Colorado, and I use hypnosis and NLP to help people make the changes they want to make, whether that's quitting smoking, losing weight, transforming chronic stress, ending chronic pain, or just setting and achieving exciting goals. So you can go to my website at duffmcduffie.com and check out more if you're interested in that. Thanks for watching.